Hi folks, and welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Corinne.
And where are we today, Corinne?
We're out at the racetrack in Death Valley.
It's an absolutely gorgeous place. Very, very interesting. The rocks actually move out here.
Well, maybe very slowly.
Extremely slowly.
No one sees them move. It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Well, we're going to try and take some photos out here on this hard, dry playa with maybe some rocks in the picture and see what we can come up with.
Yep, we'll have about a half hour to an hour before the sun's too low, and it should be fun. The road to the racetrack is no joke. It does really require a high clearance 4x4 vehicle to get out to the racetrack on most occasions. Sometimes in parts of the road are well maintained, but parts are not, and there's frequent washouts.
Well, we're on the road out to the racetrack, and it's been quite washboard, but we aired down before we left from UBE Crater area, and it made the ride much, much better.
Yeah, actually it let us get through one of the sand dunes that I'm not sure we'd have got through without the aired down tires, so it made things a lot better for us.
So every trip we make down to the racetrack requires a stop here at Tea Kettle Junction. And I don't know where this off-road goes, but I love this sign with all the tea kettles here. And so we stop to see if there's anything new and look at all the interesting tea kettles and enjoy a little break from the drive. You can tell it's late afternoon. We got some really long shadows going out from us tonight. So we're about, an hour and a half to sunset, but the sun is gonna sink behind some mountains before sunset, so we'll actually get shadowed earlier than that. So we're out about an hour before we're guessing the sun's gonna go behind the mountains.
It's hard to tell distances when you're walking on the playa. It turns out the playa is actually quite a bit larger than you might imagine, and you need to make sure you give yourself lots of time to walk out to the far side because the rocks are often better over there. The entire playa is made up of this cobble-like material, and it's pretty easy to walk on. It's also pretty easy to damage. If you come out here when it's wet, or try to drive on the playa, which is forbidden, this will be essentially destroyed. And this surface is what creates the beautiful tracks from the rocks moving across the playa.
One of the things we've noticed this visit and our previous one is when people have come out to take photos of the rocks on the racetrack, you can often see the remnants of where they've stood around quite a bit, paced or dragged bags around, because it looks a lot whiter and the sandy colored sheen that's true of the other areas is buffed out. So you can see a track, and it's a good indication of where the rock's been, but then at the end of the track you get this white patch area. Might be a little hard to see with the shadows right now, but it's behind that rock there. When you're photographing the racetrack, it's nice to try and get a rock following along in its track. So you have to get down low and get the track going out from him in the distance. And sometimes you might want to move back and get the track leading up to the rock.
I've been looking for a grouping of rocks that each has a trail, either 2 or 3 rocks together. I haven't actually been able to find a grouping of 3 with trails, but I have been able to find 2 with trail, and then there was a 3rd rock that doesn't seem to have a trail. So I'm using the 3 rocks as my composition, and what I'm really trying to do here is to just keep them all in focus. I've got deep shadows on all of them, which I think is kind of interesting right at the moment, although I might try this picture later on when there's no shadows. And I'm also cutting out the hill in the background, so I'm just using the playa as much as possible. The sun has set behind the mountain, and I caught some nice glow on the big rock over my left shoulder there, and also took some shots just after the sun stopped shining on the playa, so no shadows on the rocks. Unfortunately, without the sun, the grooves really aren't deep enough to have enough relief without some lighting, so a bit unfortunate there. Anyway, I'll put them up here now, and we can see how they look. So Corinne and I are back out at the racetrack today. It's the next day. We're here a little earlier today. It's more like about 2 o'clock, and we're just heading out to an area called the grandstand. So I have to stand over here, otherwise I can't see Corinne. There she is. So we're going to do a little photography out here, probably of the grandstand. Probably not going to be here too late tonight. We're going to check out a few of the rocks on the other side of the racetrack, and then probably head back to Beatty tonight.
Yeah, it was a little short for working out photography locations last night when we got here about 3, because the sun was gone by 4. So by the time we did our walking around looking for stones, we didn't have much time.
No, it really was a very short evening. So this will give us a little more time to walk around and do some looking. So this is actually a really good description for photographers that are out there. Corinne's doing all the nice close-up stuff, and I'm doing the 5 or 10 feet back and shooting sort of from the 5-foot level. And it's really important to get both if you're out actually shooting. As I said today, Corinne's doing the close-ups and I'm doing the further ones back. So I just took a photograph of the grandstand. The idea is it's a set of rocks that overlooks the racetrack, and they're at the far end of the racetrack, and it's a little difficult to get them to stand out from the rocks and that are behind them. So you really want them with some fairly direct light, which we've got right now. This light doesn't last long. It's an hour ago it was too harsh. Now it's still just a little bit on the harsh side, but in the realm of doable. And I'll show you my shot here in a second. Essentially, it's very straightforward. I'm shooting at f/22 because I want to get as big a depth of scale as I possibly can, and to show both the racetrack, the rocks, and the grandstand, and then the mountain peaks behind. So I haven't found any rocks over on the far side of the racetrack, but what I have found are these green, they look like little creosote bushes, and then a kind of an interesting wash all along the way that washes through them, gives a nice little pattern. Not sure if we can actually see the pattern or not in the camera, but we'll see if we can give that a go. It's kind of an interesting because it's a little bit different. And not something that I've seen out here before, or at least not something I've noticed out here before. And here's a little bonus of some shots that we took walking across the playa over the 2 days. We hope you enjoy them. Well, Corinne, what did you think?
Well, it was somewhat disappointing. We were here earlier, so the shadows weren't too intense and we had lots of time to work. But there just doesn't seem to be as many rocks out here as I remember.
Yeah, and there's an awful lot of footprints as well, and tire prints, which is really disappointing. People have been riding their vehicles out here and also walking when the surface is still very wet and putting large footprints in the mud, which is a bit disappointing.
Yeah. The interesting thing is I found that where you were going to find a rock that had a potential track by it, you could often see a white halo around it where people had stood and kind of worked down the previous mud patterns.
Yeah, so you could easily find the rocks with the little patterns, little troughs, pretty easily that way. You can actually spot them from quite a long ways away. I guess the other thing too is that we're here in the late fall, early winter, and we just haven't had much wet weather, and I think that this would really benefit from a few really good solid storms, big, heavy, gusty, rainy storms.
And we want ice.
And ice,
because
freezy.
That's what creates the tracks when the rocks skate across on little pads of ice when the clay is all wet and the wind is blowing strong. That's the mystery solved.
So it's been a great time visiting here, a little disappointing for the photography, but as always, this is always a great place to come see.
Yeah, it's a long trek out, so have a vehicle that's capable.
Yeah, we've actually seen some vehicles get stuck or almost stuck, and it's really not a place to bring a sedan. You need a four-wheel drive, high clearance vehicle. We sure hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up.
And if you'd like to see more of our videos, I hope you'll consider subscribing. There's a little button down below.
Or there's a button right on the end of the video if you watch to the end today.
Yeah, just look for our logo.
And as always, if you'd like to know when we release videos, hit that little bell symbol down below.
And we love to hear from you, so if you have questions or comments, please put it in the comment section down below, and we'll respond as soon as we can.
Take care, and bye for now.
Bye for now.